Our theme for November is the heart of gratitude. And I get to talk about the connection between gratitude and generosity, and how if you start with the one, you get the other, and vice versa. In other words, if you focus your attention on gratitude, it will lead you to an experience of generosity. Or if you start at the other end and focus on generosity, it will lead you to an experience of gratitude. Not only that, but these two attitudes of mind, generosity and gratitude, open us to the experience of abundance, exactly because they focus our attention on what is already present in life. And that is so much to be grateful for, so much to share with each other. We've had many examples of that in our county and the surrounding counties recently. So many examples of gratitude and generosity and kindness right now. And all of it at the exact same time that we're experiencing the aftermath of one of the most devastating fires in our history. While we recover, we are being simultaneously exposed to remarkable demonstrations of abundance in the form of goodwill, connection, help, loving kindness, donations, supply, possibilities, more connections, ideas, solutions, more supply. All of which is gratefully received and needed right now to counterbalance the loss and sadness and damage that we're dealing with. Now, on Thanksgiving Eve, on our Thanksgiving Eve service, which is Wednesday evening, November the 22nd at 7 p.m., we're going to be hearing from people in our community, some of whom lost everything, their homes in the fire, others who were evacuated and then taken in by members of our community. And we're going to hear from them what the role of gratitude is playing in their lives right now as they start to rebuild. And the choir will be there. So it will be a good place to be, Wednesday, November 22nd at 7 p.m. Now, the reason why gratitude and generosity are connected to abundance is because of the amazing multiplying power of our awareness. And by that I mean that what I keep my attention on becomes larger and stronger in my own awareness. So I'm asking myself this month, what am I using my attention to create more of? What am I looking for? Because I'm going to find it. Now, you know, sometimes when people learn about the amazing multiplying power of their awareness, when they learn to refocus their attention and experience that increase, a question rises up in them. They wonder, isn't this just avoidance? Or is it just denial? Maybe this is just my way of not talking about what is actually going on and what is needed. You see, the thing is, avoidance is a good thing to be mindful of, because we do not use our spirituality to disengage from life. We don't shrug off our social responsibilities by just looking at the other way and say we're praying. We are, however, at the same time cautious about the impact of saturating our minds with fear and worry and focus on what is wrong. The author and poet and psychoanalyst Clarissa Pinkola Estes wrote, "In any dark time, there is a tendency to veer towards fainting over how much is wrong or unmended in the world. Do not focus on that." That is what we're talking about this month. Refocus and veer towards generosity and gratitude. Be mindful of what you're focusing on, not so that we can pretend there is nothing to do, not to deny the pain and the suffering and the loss, just the opposite. Refocus and veer towards generosity and gratitude so that we can release our abundant ability to love each other, to help each other, and to rebuild. You know, we don't do terribly well when we are overwhelmed with worry. We don't do terribly well when we are feeling oppressed by the weight of everything that still must be done. Oh, but when we turn to that one good thing that we care about and that is ours to do, and then we do it, well, it's good for everybody. It's good for me. It's good for you. It's good for everybody. And there is a lot to do. So much. And still, just as Clarissa and Science of Mind says, don't dwell on what cannot yet be. Don't focus there. She has a beautiful phrase she uses. She says, that is spending the wind without raising the sails. Isn't that great? Spending the wind without raising the sails. I shared with the students in the Beyond Limits class that we're teaching on Tuesdays nights, I shared that I grew up in a family where worry is a way of life. It showed that you cared. If you weren't worrying, there was something wrong with you. If you weren't focusing on what was wrong with the world, you were just out of touch with reality. And it meant that you were self-centered. See, my family's philosophy, it turns out, is this: that there is something essentially wrong with the world, and that you should be on the alert for it always. I kid you not. It was incessant. And I had to unlearn that. I had to learn for myself that worrying about what cannot yet be is spending the wind without raising the sails. You know, there was a lot of huffing and puffing in my household. But that didn't get us to any destination. It certainly didn't lead to any kind of peace. I had to learn a better way to be in the world. I had to learn something better than worrying. I had to learn to fill myself up with gratitude for what is, and to let that gratitude lead me to generosity so that I could contribute what is mine to contribute. Funny thing is that taking my focus away from fear and worry didn't turn me into the horrible, selfish person my family predicted. No, rather, it freed my mind up to get excited about helping. It freed my attention up to notice where help was wanted and needed. It freed my emotion up from fear, and it got me going in the direction of life. Clarissa goes on to say, we are needed. That is all we can know. And though we meet resistance, we more so will meet great souls who will hail us, love us, and guide us, and we will know them when they appear. That's what we're talking about this month. The value of paying attention and noticing the good that is already around us, and to refocus and veer towards it and feel gratitude for it, and then let that gratitude open up our hearts of generosity so that we give, serve, and help, do the good that we can. So the message is, be on the lookout for goodness. And when you see it, give thanks for it, and let it guide and inspire you to do what is yours to do. A few weeks ago, I told you about the young Puerto Rico man who dropped everything and flew to Puerto Rico to be with his family who was there struggling with unimaginable difficulties that are still going on right now. Well, he did well there. Now he's back in Reno where he lives, and don't you know, he's at it again. There he is advocating for generosity again. And this time he's got his eyes on the homeless in Reno who are affected by the bitter cold winters that happen there. So he's created a thermal drive with the goal of collecting thermal tops and bottoms to give to the homeless. He says, receiving a set of thermals means much more than just a warmer night. It means that somebody cared, and that gives hope. And don't you know, people are sending him thermal underwear from all over the country, from as far as Minnesota. And what I learned from this is, well, he's not curing all of the ills of the world, but he is doing the good that he can do right where he is. And that is inspiring. That is the spirituality of goodness in action. Do the good you can where you are. Clarissa says, ours is not the task of fixing the entire world at once, but of stretching out to mend the part of the world that is within our reach. Any small, calm thing that one soul can do to help another soul, to assist some portion of this poor, suffering world, will help immensely. It is not given to us to know which acts or by whom will cause the critical mass to tip toward an enduring good. No, we just get to mend the part of the world that is within our reach. Isn't that beautiful? One small, calm thing. Oh, to have faith in that. Another author, Fran Hamilton, she wrote Goodness to Go, I believe, and she recommends that we take a moment, that we pause and notice and reflect and ask ourselves, what examples of community volunteerism and altruism have inspired me lately? That's a beautiful way to refocus. Notice the helpers and give thanks for them, and let that gratitude then open your heart to do what is yours to do. I was listening to KSRO recently, and there was an interview with a representative from the Volunteer Center for Sonoma County, which for the past 50 years has been connecting volunteers with nonprofit organizations in Sonoma County. And in the interview, it was mentioned that in October alone, some 14,000 volunteers have been mobilized in Sonoma County. And that Sonoma County, when it comes to volunteerism, rates among the highest. That is worth giving thanks for. That is worth being inspired over. Oh, and by the way, we're still on with our building project through Habitat for Humanity of Sonoma County. We're still taking names of people who want to volunteer, who want to help create housing in Santa Rosa. And we've got a build date and a project to work on. It's March 31st, and it's a 3-home housing development on West Steel Lane. And you do have to sign up to participate. You can do that at the volunteer table. And when you show up on that build day, you have to wear closed-toe shoes and appropriate work clothing, and bring a water bottle and a sack lunch. So sign up and be part of the rebuilding. Fran Hamilton, the author I just mentioned, she gives an example of radical generosity that is really working me. It's stuck in my head. She talks about living anonymous organ donors as examples of radical empathy and altruism. People who donate an organ while they're alive without even knowing who it will go to. And she asks us the question, what makes a person do that? and what might contribute to their deep trust in the inexhaustible flow of goodness in this universe? Oh, that's a powerful question. That's a question that can help me investigate my own heart and conviction. Do I have deep trust in the abundance of this universe? Deep enough to contribute what I can? Or am I still struggling with whether or not to donate anything? Do I still wonder about whether or not to give my time, my treasure, my talent? Whew. And what blocks me from giving what I can give? Well, one of the things that blocks me is thinking that the good I do or the gift that I give isn't good enough. It doesn't count. Unless it's a limb or an organ, it's not enough. It's got to be something gigantic and world-shaping. So what I do is I compare myself to the gifts of the radical examples, and that leaves me feeling contracted and less than and stuck, frozen. So I've had to unlearn that. No comparisons are useful in generosity and gratitude. My gift is my gift, and your gift is your gift, and we can be grateful for all of them. I have to do the good I can do where I can and when I can. And I get to practice trusting that the good I do locally affects us globally. I had to learn to trust in the small acts of loving kindness and contribution. I was thinking about that recently when I stumbled upon the website StaySonomaStrong.com. It's a website that lists businesses that are still in business. They're still open even though their owners lost their homes in the fire. And I thought, I can do that. I can support those businesses as a sign of solidarity and support. And I can trust that the good that I do locally affects us globally. If there's one thing that I am certain of, and paradoxically, I learned it from my family, it's generosity. I'm sure of that. Whenever I feel stuck or struggling, I know now to turn to generosity quickly, and I know where it will lead. To gratitude. Whenever I'm stuck or struggling, I look around for where can I give, whether it is my time or my expertise or my treasure, whatever it is, and I give because I have learned to trust it to do its magic and to reawaken in my mind the connections that exist between us. Oh, giving is healing for the giver and the receiver. And another thing I'm certain of, and paradoxically I learned it from my family, I'm certain about gratitude. Whenever I feel sad or hopeless, I've learned to turn quickly to gratitude, and I've learned to trust in its multiplying power. And what I mean by that is as soon as I start to pay attention to where there is something to be grateful for, the list gets longer and longer all by itself. And the practice of gratitude always leads to generosity because it reminds me of what I have. So this month I'm asking myself, Edward, what do you want to experience more of? And the answer I'm coming up with for me is that I want to be able to give more. I want to be able to love more. I want to be able to help more. I want to be able to create more. I want to be able to connect more. And to be able to do that, I am willing to break the habit of obsessing about what I cannot change. I am willing to break the habit of focusing on what is not yet to be and to practice veering toward gratitude and generosity, refocusing on gratitude and generosity, so that what is already strongly present in life can work through me. So I invite you to breathe in with me and exhale, letting your eyes close for a moment of prayer. And even though I may speak this prayer in the first person, it is available for anyone who identifies with any part of it. There is one eternal source of life, the Creator, endless, inexhaustible, in and through all creation. We call it the self-givingness of the universe. It is what I am made of and where I live. It is the function and form of my being. It is the idea behind my existence, which is why I say with the scripture that I am made in the image and likeness of that which is eternal, creative, beautiful, loving. That is in me. And according to the freedom with which I am created, I can express that in any way I wish. So today, through this prayer, then, I call upon those qualities: love, generosity, kindness, gratitude. I call them forward into my attention so that I may begin again to see the world through the filter of these qualities, to open my heart, to stimulate my mind, and to activate me into actions that rebuild and reconnect. This fills me with gratitude. This realization and awareness I'm grateful for. And so I release this word of prayer into that aspect of creation that we call the law, meaning that it responds to us immediately and instantly, so that I may now expect to have a heart of generosity and gratitude. And so it is. I invite you to take another deep breath and to sigh.